Hello, everyone. Hope you guys had a great week. Today, we're going to talk about expectations, the expectations you have when you are thinking about drinking less. So, I came up with a few expectations that seem to be common. The first group of expectations are the ones about the process and about you doing the process. So these expectations are typically negative. They are expectations that the process is going to be too hard, that you're not going to be able to do it. You may have thoughts or evidence from the past that you've tried this before and you weren't able to do it. And so that means you're not going to be able to do it going forward. So I would like to encourage you when you have these expectations to really question them. And some of them you may find are true, right? Is this going to be hard? Yeah, that makes sense. That this is going to be a hard process. If it wasn't hard, if it was easy, you already would have done it. So that's true. But what about the fact that because you haven't done something in the past, you won't be able to do it in the future? That's not true, right? There always has to be a first time for everything. Think about all the things you've done in your entire life. There was always a first time. And there were times when you tried to do things over and over, especially as a child. We do this all the time. Kids are constantly trying new things, failing at it, doing it again until they finally get it right. You know, from the most basic tasks that we do, brushing our teeth, tying our shoes, walking, they just try over and over again. And imagine if, as a child, you just stopped. I've tried to walk too many times. I'm never going to be able to do it, right? It's ridiculous. But as adults, we forget that and our ego gets in the way. And I don't know what else comes into play, but we suddenly decide as we get older that once we try something a few times and if we don't do it, that we're never going to be able to do it. But if you think about your past and think about growing up and all the things that you didn't know how to do, that you learned how to do through trying it, you start to think about how ridiculous that is, right? So the next thing is our expectations about what life will be like once we stop drinking or drink less than we're drinking now. And often those are also negative thoughts. We think that life is going to suck if we can't drink as much as we want to drink. We think we're going to feel sad. We think we're going to feel deprived. We're going to feel, resentment towards other people who are drinking and, doing what we want to be able to do, and we're not doing it. We have all these thoughts about how our lives are going to look, and it's typically negative. We know we have reasons that we want to drink less. We want to feel better. Maybe you have reasons for your health. Maybe you have reasons that have to do with your personal, how much thought you're spending, how much time you're spending thinking about this, and how you're beating yourself up over and over again. And you just feel stuck. You feel guilty. You feel shame, all of those things. But when we look ahead to what our life will be like, we don't give that too much airtime in our thoughts, right? We are typically thinking about the negative things, the things we're going to lose, the things we're not going to be able to do. So for that, I'd like you also to question those thoughts. Is it possible that life could still be fun if you're not drinking as much? Is it possible that you can go out to a party and enjoy yourself? You can be at a bar, you can be at a restaurant and not feel deprived, not feel sad, not be really wishing that you were drinking or drinking more. Is it possible that you might still have a good time? You might have as good a time. You might have a better time. Is any of that possible? You really need to look for that possibility at least. And then keep yourself focused on the good things as well. Give that more airtime in your thoughts. be remembering how good you're going to feel in the morning, how proud you're going to be of yourself, how nice it's going to be not to wake up with anxiety and shame and guilt. Remember all those things. And then the third thing is that once you finally decide, yes, you are going to take steps to drink less and start this process, you start at the beginning and you're motivated and feeling committed to doing this. Maybe there's still some hesitation because you're not sure what the process will be, but you start taking action towards your goal of drinking less. And then you have this expectation that once you start to do it, actually, you'll be able to do it quicker than you wind up doing it. This happens a lot. It also happens where things are going well for the first week or two, and then you just expect that they're going to continue to be easy, or you're not going to have problems, or that you're going to feel really good. Because at the beginning, often you aren't drinking and you start to feel good. You start to wake up in the morning and think it's so nice to wake up and not feel hungover, not be worried about what I might have said last night, not be beating myself up for drinking more than I wanted to. But then that kind of starts to wear off. You're like, all right, I'm getting used to feeling good. I'm getting used to not waking myself up and beating myself up. But now other things are coming up. The fact is, in working towards any goal, it's never going to be an straight upward trajectory at the same incline the whole way. You're not always going to be making the same progress, right? There's always going to be dips down. You're going to make progress, and then you're going to hit new challenges. New things are going to come up that you're going to have to deal with. And that's going to cause you to what you may feel like is sliding back, or you may feel like is a failure. But you have to keep in mind that you're never going all the way back to zero. You've learned stuff along the way. And it's so important to keep that in mind. Almost everyone I work with goes through this at some point where they start to feel that things are getting harder than they had been, or they wind up having a night where they drink more than they planned. And then all the doomsday thoughts come in. Oh, this is going to be like before. I knew this would happen. I thought I was doing really well, and now I'm sliding back. And you just really have to keep in mind that this is a process. Nothing has gone wrong. You have made progress, and whatever slip you have doesn't erase all of that. So keep your expectations in check. Don't expect that this is going to be quick. Don't expect that everything's, as you make progress, you're going to keep adding on to that. It took a long time to get to where you are. If you're struggling with cutting back, then I'm going to guess that you've been drinking like this for a few years at least, right? And it takes a long time to undo. It doesn't take as long, but you have to undo the habits you created, the thoughts that you believe that are constantly running through your head about that drinking will make you relax, drinking will make things more fun. You have to unbelieve those, and that takes time. It's the same thing. I'm also a personal trainer, and this happens a lot when people come to me and they want to get in shape or lose weight, and they want quick results. And it's taken them years to get to where they are. Over COVID, which is 2 or 3 years, they gained 20 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever it is. They got out of shape. They haven't worked out. They drank more than they normally did. And now they want to see results in the first month. And you do start to see some results, but you're certainly not going to lose 20 pounds and suddenly be totally fit and able to run a 5K. It takes time. So you're setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment if you come into this thinking that this is going to be a quick fix. That's one of the problems that I see with these dry months, dry January, whatever, because people think that in 1 month they're going to be able to just get back to where they were whenever that was, a few years ago, or however long ago it was, when you felt that your drinking was under control. And a month, and especially a month where you're just restricting yourself from the alcohol and you're not dealing with why you're struggling, that's not going to get you to your end goal of feeling in control and feeling better. The other thing to keep in mind, and this isn't the best news, but when you stop using alcohol to avoid your feelings, to avoid having to feel stress, boredom, inadequacy, self-consciousness, when you're out with people, when you stop using alcohol for that, then you have to feel those feelings. You have to feel them and address them. You have to deal with why you're feeling stressed, why you feel inadequate, if you want to get to the other side of this. And you do, I promise you, life really is so much better when you deal with those feelings, deal with those beliefs that you've been thinking about forever. You just have to do the work. So I'm not trying to discourage you, telling you that this is going to be super hard, but I'm encouraging you to not give up, to actually do the work and deal with your feelings, deal with your thoughts, stick with it when you feel like you're sliding back, or you drank more than you wanted and you feel like you failed or you're embarrassed. Keep going. It does not mean you can't do it. I promise you it's worth the work. I'm speaking from my own experience, and I have many clients who say the same thing. No one is ever unhappy that they did this work to get to the other side of it. I know you can do it. So stick with it. As always, I am here for you. And I have a freebie for you guys. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. It's a week of questions that are going to help you look at your thoughts around drinking, because this is really such a key component to taking control of your drinking long term, looking at the thoughts and the beliefs you have about drinking. So sign up for the emails. You'll get an email every day for a week with a couple questions each day for you to start thinking about. And that will start you off, or if you've already been doing this work, it's going to help you move forward. All right, guys, have a great week. I'll talk to you again next week.